Greetings, you're watching Video A, the first of 5 recordings from the Miradi Session at the 2018 Conservation Coaches Rally in Australia. This video introduces the session, shows you how to find 2 scavenger hunt exercises featured in the session, and includes the first presentation, a demonstration from Carrie Stiles of the Puget Sound Partnership on a new template reporting feature available from Miradi Share. You can access the link to the playlist of all 5 videos and direct links to any of the videos by clicking on the Show More link in the video description located below the playback window. Go to miradi.org/community where you'll see PDF files for the set of questions and screenshots showing the answers to each question for both the Miradi desktop and the Miradi Share scavenger hunt exercises. There are a set of 12 questions for Miradi desktop using the marine example that comes shipped with the Miradi software. You can also download the project in the community library of miradishare.org. Search for the project marine example in the project list. There are an additional 8 questions for Miradi Share that you investigate using the Bush Heritage program. The PDF files show worked out screenshots of how to find the answer to each question. Now on to the first presentation on Miradi Share template reporting by Carrie Stiles.
I am very happy to be here again. I gave a presentation a couple days ago, so apologies to those of you who saw these first couple of slides. I just wanted to cover a little bit about who we are at the partnership so that you have some context for why we're investing in the type of reporting tools that we've been working on. So what I'm going to talk about today is some new report templates and report documents that you can generate from Miradi Share. So they pull information from your Miradi project. And they're one-click report tools, which for us is very critical for some of our audiences to have a really simple way of pulling information out and reporting it and summarizing it for different audiences. So let me get my slides going here. So where am I right now, and where I live and work? Where I am right now is in the Puget Sound. We are in the northwest corner of the United States in the state of Washington, just south of the Canadian border, south of Vancouver. I'm sitting in Seattle, right at the center of Puget Sound. And Puget Sound watershed is pretty big. It's a large estuary. We're socially complex with the border with Canada, as I just mentioned. We work with people in 12 different counties, over 100 cities, over 20 tribes, and we're very ecologically complex as well. We like to say that we work on everything from the snow caps to the white caps with a focus on the watery bits. So we have volcanoes with glaciers that are over 14,000 feet that run down through lowland forest and prairies and major rivers and down into the near shore and the open ocean. So it's a pretty diverse area that we work in. And we work with a large number of partners. So we are the Puget Sound Partnership, which, although it doesn't sound like it, we are a Washington state agency. And we are responsible for leading and coordinating the ecosystem recovery or conservation efforts of all of the partners working in Puget Sound. The federal partners, state partners, tribes, nonprofits, private sector, local governments, everyone, scientists. And we've been using the open standards for about 10 years to slowly improve our recovery plans, help align our recovery efforts, and coordinate and share information across all of our partners. So the main scales that we work at are the entire Puget Sound Basin. We have some smaller areas shown by these dark blue lines, which we call local action areas, and then we have the focus areas for salmon recovery. So we use the open standards and we use tools in Miradi and Miradi Share to help us, as I said, align and summarize our information so we can learn from each other. As one example, we've identified a set of targets that are measures of health for the 6 goals that we've been given by the state legislature. So we're required to focus on Puget Sound health and what that means with respect to water quality, water quantity, habitat, species, human health, and human well-being. So we have a set of what we call vital signs, which are essentially targets that we use to track and report on progress. And all partners working on ecosystem recovery in Puget Sound are required to tell us how they're addressing these and what they're contributing towards those that are relevant in their area. So we've developed ecosystem recovery plans at all of the 3 scales that I showed you earlier, and we develop and manage those plans in Miradi. So each area, the 16 watersheds, the 9 local areas, and Puget Sound overall, we have recovery plans or Miradi projects at those scales, and we manage them in Miradi Share. We use a number of tools, which we don't have time to go into today, to sort of tag content within those projects to taxonomies or classification systems that are both the global classification systems, but then also we have Puget Sound specific ones to help us share information across all of our partners. So what we've found is that, take me a second here, is that the old way of generating reports, which you are probably familiar with, and looks something like this report I'm opening right now in Word, which will pop up in just a second. We found that the old way of generating reports, big, huge Word documents that look something like this. You can see, it's 100 pages long. It has a lot of great information, and we actually generated this from our Miradi project files. This is an example of one of our salmon recovery reports. So you can see, I know you can't see the details here, but it's 100 pages long. It has the targets we're focused on. It has results change, theories of change, priority pressures, all of those things. But these lengthy reports, although they are pulling directly from the Miradi projects, they're pretty complex to develop the templates and run the reports, and it's hard to package this information for decision makers or funders. The project team might look at this thing again, but most people won't look at these reports again. So what we've done is, working with the Miradi developers and a bunch of great partners like Dan and Annette, who are in front of you, and Nick and his team, is try and come up with some ways of pulling information out of our Miradi projects that we can package in a much more palatable and pretty way that can also be easily editable by the project team. So just showing you here on our version of the Open Standards or Adaptive Management Cycle, I'm going to show you examples of 4 different projects that were, reports that we're just starting to develop. So the first report I'll show you is a report that that summarizes the targets that we're working on. So those vital signs I showed you earlier, it'll summarize it for a specific area. Then I'll show you a report that really summarizes how we're doing on implementing some of the activities that we've identified. I'll show you a results chain worksheet that we're starting to use with some of our project teams that are developing results chain content. So this is really a work group type audience. And then I'll show you a simplified 10-page version of something like that 100-page report that I showed earlier. So I'll go through those 4 examples, and I'll show you how to create them in Miradi Share. And let me switch over here really quickly to a live demo, and let's hope that it works. So what you're looking at here, and I can zoom in a little bit, this is one of those local areas I was talking about. This is Island local area, and this is their homepage in Miradi Share, and it is that beautiful. So what we've done, all of the Miradi project data is here in their instance of Miradi on Miradi Share. And what we have now is report templates that we've loaded into the Miradi Share program that any project owner who's within our Puget Sound program can go to and run these reports. So a lot of these are test reports because we're just starting to develop these, but I'm going to show you how with just this one click right here, they can run an activity status report, and it comes out in Word. It looks pretty nice for a Word report, and it's easily editable by the team that's running this thing. So it's running now, and it seems to be running a little slowly. So I'm just going to, oh, there it is. So what I do is I'll save it. So you just hit the save button and save it to wherever you need to save it in your system. But I'm going to flip to one that I downloaded earlier just so you can see what it looks like. So this, oh, I don't know why it's zooming out. Sorry about that. Let me go in here. So this is an example of just a quick activity summary report. We call them near-term actions. So this just pulled all of the data from that project file, island local area. I've developed a template that has a branding. It's part of the Puget Sound National Estuary Program. It's part of our local integrating organization program. And you can see it just quickly, it pulls the status. We've added the status information here, and it pulls the name of all of their activities and a description. So it's as simple as that one-click report to generate a report like this summarizing the activities. So that's how you run all of the reports. And what we could click on many of these, but what I want to do is just open a few examples of the different types of reports that we've been playing with, so you can see what they look like. And these are created in the exact same way with a single click. So for example, this is just a 2-page summary of the targets or the vital signs that are important in that local area. So we develop a template in Word, which I'll show you in just a second, and we told it to pull the pictures out of Miradi Share that we loaded, give the name of the target, the description of the target, show us which goals are associated with that target, and then tell us the status. Now, I have to be totally honest. This isn't built yet. The developers for Miradi Share and Miradi haven't built this, but this information is in the Miradi projects, and so you can easily add this to your Word document later, and hopefully soon someone will fund creation of this so that we can just pull this automatically and run these reports. But we're finding that this sort of thing, saying, you know, what we care about in the area, describing it a little bit, describing the goals and showing the status, this type of report is much more compelling to most decision makers and funders and even project teams than, you know, the sort of long, wordy report that I showed you earlier. So that's the target report. We've seen the status report. Now what I'm going to pull up for you is this report is created in the exact same way with the one click, and what it does is it pulls all of the results chains out of the file. So again, we've branded this. This is an 11 by 17 tabloid size worksheet so that people have enough room to work on this both either by hand or in Word. And what you see is that I've created a key, so it automatically puts in a key for results chains. I included a little bit of language in the template so that this automatically comes out with any report, any project that runs this report. And then what you'll see, please don't look at the content because it might not be great, but I just wanted to show you it pulls out the results chains with all the content. We included the description, and then it summarizes the strategies. And then what we did was create tables that allow any work group to come in, and rather than having to interact in a Miradi project directly, these can be used in a workshop type setting. So any workshop participant can, you know, put any sort of description or notes or comments related to the activities that are proposed, and then do the same for any intermediate results are proposed, and objectives and indicators. So we're finding that being able to just with one click run reports like this that come out in a Word format with the diagrams is making it much easier to get input from the work groups in a format that they're familiar with. And you can see this thing is about 20 pages long, so there's 5 different results chains that captured with this report. And then the last report I have to show you is an executive summary report. So again, this is what we're thinking of using to replace that sort of 100-page report that's sitting on a shelf or on a hard drive somewhere. So this is a report, again, that's about 10 pages long. We set it up with a template so that it pulls the project name. There's some template language here that explains what our local areas are. It automatically populates with the key partners that are involved. It pulls photos that we've included in Miradi Share that the project owner can upload so that the photos are consistent with their area. And then we have both standard language that's included in the template, like this bubble right here is standard language, so the local area doesn't have to recreate it. But then they've put their description of who they are and their vision that comes straight out of their Miradi project file, it's populating these other areas in the report. So I'll just show you a couple other things. There's a map that, again, it can be uploaded to Miradi Share and inserted. It is pulled automatically when they run the report. They've got their goals summarized here in a table that's easy to read. Not as compelling as the photo montage. We're moving towards that, but this was our first pass. And then we can include status information. So how is the local area doing? What have they learned, et cetera? What's the date? How's their overall progress as of this date? So this is an example of an executive summary report, again, that's run using that one-click method. And I just wanted to show you how simple the report templates are and how easy they are to manage as a Miradi Share program manager, so that you can see it's not quite as intimidating as it might seem. So for me, as a program manager for all of the Puget Sound work, I have a new button here which I can click on, which is the report document templates. So this is a great place where I can manage all of the different templates that I'm creating and assign them to different projects. So this is brand new. This is just in QA, so it's not even on the live site yet, which is why some of these things aren't populated. But what you can see is that here's that NTA status report that I ran. I can see what file I've called it. I have a little description here. This report is relevant to all of the local areas. And then you can see when I last updated it. And then if I need to test run it, I can go in here and run a test run for any of the projects that I've associated that report template with. So it's a really nice interface for managing those report templates and testing them and really giving any of your Miradi project owners access to any of those templates. And then finally, what I'm going to show you is what a template looks like. So this is the target summary, or what we call the vital signs summary, and you'll see it's got 2 pages worth of content. And the template itself is just this. So all it is code that the Miradi developers have developed, which I just plug and play. So I just create a nice looking template in Word with colors. I use normal table, I use normal formatting and everything in Word that you're used to. But then I have little snippets of code that the Sitka Miradi developer folks have developed for us, and I just tell the Word template where to put that information. So this basically says, go get the project title and put it here. This says, go get the recovery goals for that target and put it here. So I just wanted to show you that with a really very small, easy to develop template, you can run really nice reports that are useful for a variety of audiences. So I think that is it. Yes, I had some backup slides in case my demo didn't work, but it did. So yeah, we're really excited about this and would love to collaborate with anyone else who wants to work on developing templates. These are anyone who has a Miradi Share program, a program in Miradi Share can use these templates, and yeah, we'd love to share. So that's it, the end. Okay, now I can hear you. Great.
Yeah. And just one comment to tack on to what Carrie is saying, what we're doing is really creating a community of practice around these templates. So as people who are like Carrie, who are developing really nice looking reports, we're creating a repository in a Google Doc that has the actual code that allows people to run these reports. And so when I see something that Carrie's doing for Puget Sound Partnership and I want to use a similar report in the Conservancy, I can just take that code, and I might have to tweak it a little bit and then run it, but I don't have to start from scratch. And so we're going to start to develop that sort of template of code.
And here's one of yours, Dan.
Okay. Can I make one really important clarification for everyone in this room, which is if you're working with your project team and you're putting stuff in Miradi, you want to edit, you edit Miradi, right? If you create one of these Word documents and then they edit it there, it's not going to edit the live hot version of the information, right? So in some ways, you want to think about you do the work with your team, with the geeks on Miradi, or you put it in Miradi Share. But then when you want to spit out that information from your boss or your stakeholder, you're using these reports to then instantly generate those reports that you want updated on that live information. But you do have to be careful that if you edit that Word file, it's not going back, the information is not going back together with it. You have to be really clear about when are you doing it with your project team versus when are you exporting that information to various folks.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nick.
Arlene?
Yeah, and another question here. Those templates that Terry talked about, and those will be available to other programs. Can you just talk about whether some folks are still putting, they don't have their own program, and they're putting projects onto the community library? Well, what of those templates will be available on the community library?
So that's a good question. And it comes down to the design of Miradi Share. In some ways, what Terry's showing there is much more effective when you have a suite of replicated projects. Just like she has several of those action areas that are all doing similar work. That's the case where you want to pull the information from different projects. But you kind of want to have those housed in one room, which is your program. So we're kind of maintaining that kind of templating for people who have individual program rooms. But there are some templates that might be more useful to generate information from single projects, and those we'll try to make available in the library.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, sorry.
I'm curious, across your partnership, how many people are using Miradi to update records? Is it one person in each one of those partners, or are you doing it all?
No, the way it works, so we pay for the license for all of our partners who want to work in Miradi, and we require all of those local areas, all of the watersheds, and anyone working on Puget Sound scale stuff to work in Miradi. So we have, it really varies, as you might not be surprised to hear that. It really varies. So some of our local areas have really picked it up and run with it, and they have, 2 or 3 people who are skilled at using Miradi and developing content and managing it. There are others have hired contract teams to help them manage and develop the information in Miradi. But and then we at the partnership, almost all of our staff use Miradi and are comfortable using Miradi. And we're also using it to develop our program objectives for all of our programs within the Puget Sound partnership and our work plans. So it really varies. We require everyone to use it to some degree, with include certain elements and align their work with the Puget Sound wide taxonomies so that we can share information and learn from each other. But whether people are doing it individually or have the resources and capacity internally, or whether they're using contractors or getting help from us or other partners, really varies. And I think the big hurdle we have is trying to get information out in a way that is really compelling and palatable to non-Miradi users. So these reports are turning out to be really of a lot of interest by most of our partners, because they're seeing the value of using the open standards, using Miradi to manage their information, but they've been struggling to get information out in an easy way. So these are turning out to be pretty useful. We think this will help build support additionally around the region.
That concludes this video in the playlist of Miradi recordings from the CCNET Rally Miradi session. Click on the Show More link in the video description below to access the playlist or direct links to the other 4 videos.